Hello everybody, this is Diane. I'm working on some autumn colored and kind of themed journals. They're one signature journals, and I've just been trying to do some different things and experiment, and so that's what I'm working on. This is what I've got pretty much done. I might have some more details to do. It's not sewn together, and I'll have to put a tie around it. I started out actually with this one. They're all made with a file folder base, and it's just got fabric sewn on it. So this one measures, the cover of it measures about 5 by 8. And I put this pretty paisley fabric on it and this beautiful boho edging, and I put that on as a little pocket. It's got this pretty embroidered ribbon here and some tatting, some seam binding, and then this bit of boho trim, a little bit of lace. And I just tucked this playing card in the pocket there. And on the inside has this pretty fall colored fabric with some ribbon and lace at the top, and an old index card file with a metal tab. I put F for fall in there. And then this little bit, which I think that was one of the elements from Eclectic Eggplant. And I started doing some pages in this journal. I was having fun doing these, and then I saw a video from Cassie, Dust to Roses, and I was really inspired by some of the things she does. So I set this aside, and I will finish it. I set this aside and I started making these two things based on, well, inspired by the video that I saw of hers, and I will link that video below. Again, it's a file folder, and it's covered with fabric. The inside is covered with paper. And mine look a lot different from hers. The one I saw of hers is a kitchen themed, and mine is autumn, and very different. I have different elements to use, and of course I incorporated my own style. But I took a lot of her ideas and just really had fun with them. So I used this pretty neutral fabric on the background, and then some bits of lace. Well, this is a big piece of lace, and this is vintage, and that is vintage. Some little scraps of fabric, this little bit of a embroidered piece, some more of the boho stuff. I really wanted to use some of my sparkly boho things in these fall journals, autumn journals. And then I sewed on some little sequins. I have these little kind of a rose gold or coppery kind of color sequins, and I just stitched them on and then glued the paper. Made this pocket, and this is a copy of a postcard, an antique postcard that I have. So rather than just go through all the pages with you right now, I'll talk about this cover, and then I'm going to do some more work in here, kind of copying what I did in this book. So this fabric that I used for this cover is a sample. It was with a set of sample fabrics that somebody sent me for like a decorator. So there were a bunch that matched, coordinated together, but I loved this one that looks like it was pieced together. And then added some vintage laces again, and some crochet, some bling, and instead of the sequins I added some buttons. And on the inside I did the pocket again, and this vintage coat room check ticket on the back. I didn't put a pocket on the back yet. So I don't think I have all the pages even for this, and she does something different with getting her pages ready, and I was trying that, and I thought it was pretty fun. So, and I like the way it looks, so I'm going to continue on with that. But for now, I'm going to just go on what I've done here and continue working on it in this journal. I need to take another page, I believe, that is already printed and make a new page for the front of this one. I have these pages that I had printed for my first autumn journals, the Woodlands journals, and I printed the trees on the backs. So I want to use one of those. I think I'll use that one that has more color in it. So what she does, instead of getting out the paper trimmer, she just tears and uses her ruler. I found that it actually took longer because she just kind of holds it against her cover and uses that to measure and then tears. So it's a lot quicker to just take the paper cutter and you have the measurements right on there and you just cut it. But I do like the way that the edges look just torn, and I figure I'll do it once and maybe I'll just go back to using the paper trimmer and not tearing like this. But I'm going to continue with this. I'm just tearing it so that the white edges are gone, and then I'll see how much I need to tear off of the other edges. I don't need to tear any more off of the width because I want to fold it over. But the height needs to be, I'll just tear this part off just as little as possible. And yes, I do need to tear some off of the top. She said she'll measure the base, the file folder, and then that's the last thing she measures. Everything else is just held against other things and torn and stuff like that. She hates to measure. Well, I don't measure a lot, but I do measure more than that. So you can see the white where that paper was torn, so I'm just going to ink the edges. I don't think I'm going to get very far in this video, but we'll see what we can do. This is a William Morris design on this paper. I used those pages, like I said, in the Woodlands journals. I chose the ones that had the right coloration for that. And then I added these, which I had used last year because they're lined. I like that. I was using my Timber Brown. Stays on, I guess. So now I am going to fold this so that, actually I don't need it to be the full width. This is a short page, which is good because that gives me extra to fold over on the front. So I think what I want to do is I'll just fold over a piece on the front, make sure I have that, and then I will fold it again so that I have pretty much a full-size page. Okay, and that gives me, well, it's still, it ended up being bigger than that page. Must be I think I folded more. Yes, this page ended up having a couple of folds in it. So this one will too. I'm going to make this flap a little bigger. And I still have a good sized page on the back. And then this is something that she did, folding a page like this and then tearing. This I could leave to open up, and then you could have all that room for writing. But I'm just having fun with experimenting and decorating pages in different ways than what I normally do. And this is one of the things that, whoops, we don't want all that white. This is one of the things that she did. So it sparks my creativity to see what other people do. And I start out by trying to copy them as closely as I am able to with the supplies that I have. And then I end up just jumping in and finishing up on with my own stuff. It just kind of sparks the journey for me. So there's a few extra folds on this page, but it'll end up being all right because I taped this over it. See, there was a fold right there. I taped this or glued this over it so that it keeps it from wanting to fold there. So this was our trifold page. I glued this autumn label on there and did some decorating on it with some anaglypta wallpaper, some more vintage wallpaper, and some of the digitals from Eclectic Eggplant. Let's see if I have any more. That label, oh yeah, here's one. I can use this one. These, I got such great images from a book of images that came with a CD. Well, it was supposed to come with a CD. When I got it, it didn't have a CD. I think there's a slight difference in the size of these. Just in the height, though. Just a tiny, tiny bit. So, anyway, I'm just going to trim off the extra border on this so it'll fit. So these were supposed to be images that you could, you know, put the CD in on your computer and then make copies, but I don't have the CD. It was a used book, secondhand book anyway, and so I just cut the images right off the pages. And I just set aside the ones that look like autumn because they're so beautiful. I wanted to use them. So I'm going to use that, and I have this little bit of anaglypta wallpaper, which is just, it looks embossed, but I think it's got to be more than just embossed because it's, you can't see it on the back, but it might have a backing paper, but it just doesn't feel like a normal emboss. It's really, really cool wallpaper. I'm just going to tear some of that and use it. Maybe I'll put it right on top. And I'll just take this little strip of vintage wallpaper. I don't have as much space to work with on this one. Might be because there's quite a bit of difference in the size. And this is wider. So we'll just do what I can with what I have, right? That's why I compared the size of those covers, because I don't know why I ended up with my page here being so much narrower, but it is. So we're going to work with it. I don't think I need that. I'll put it, maybe I'll put a piece down here. I'll put the torn side where it shows. Got some more of the images from Eclectic Eggplant. want anything too big. Looks like I've used up most of the small pieces and I don't want to print more. Oh, I love this one. I think that'll work. I have more from Eclectic Eggplant that they're in the same set as these. It's either Fall Digitals or Autumn Digitals, and these are all fruit and pumpkins and things like that. Oops, I think I picked up the leaf I wanted. What did I do with my leaf? I'll just get another one. I probably put it in this pile. Okay. All right. I'm going to ink this. Because there's a lot of border around this. These are made with a border that is slightly darker than the white page, so that a scan and cut or something like that can recognize it as a border and cut around it. I don't have any of those fancy digital cutting tools. I fussy cut all of these. And I'm going to brush some, or rub some ink on the Anaglypta paper. And now we're ready to start gluing things down. My decorating is a lot different from what Cassie did, because I wanted to use these fall images and she used other things. But I did get a lot of inspiration and ideas from her, and I will mention when I do something that is because of something that she did. Whoops, I'm going to put this down underneath that. Sorry, I was trying to put the pin back in that cap. It's still humid. We've had a very hot and humid couple of weeks. It's still humid, but it's not quite as hot, but the humidity does me in. But I'm staying inside today. I've had a very busy week with various appointments and kid watching. So this is Monday, and it's my only day this week that I haven't had appointments or kids to watch. So I've been kind of doing, I haven't done a single crafty video this week, but I've been doing the work on these in little bits of the day here and there when I have time. And I did quite a bit yesterday. I had the boys and I did quite a bit, but I didn't do any videos because they were here. Alright, so that part is done, and now I am just going to, I got some glue hanging off of there. I'm going to end up sewing across this, and I will tuck this tag in. Now these were some freebie tags from Porch Swing Designs, these three, and I had them in my old computer and I just found them. So I printed, they're big tags too, so I wanted to make sure I got to use them, so I printed them off, and I'll tuck that in there. And I'm not even sure where this came from, but I had printed them. They were in my stash. I printed them on parchment paper, and she has fall leaves and flowers in her hat, so, and they just barely fit in there, in that pocket. I might trim that a little bit just so it doesn't get bent when the book closes, when it's all sewn together and it's fatter. Just a tiny bit. If I need to trim it more later, I will. And I will do some inking on those two pieces, but I'm not going to do that right now. And on this side, I just added a little bit of lace and some trim there, and I will do that at my sewing machine. And on the back, I have this tiny little appointment book, 1954 diary, and I took a page from September and glued it to the back, and I will do that again. Yeah, I'll use this one. And then I added some, that's not old cellophane on that page, it's cellophane tape that I colored with alcohol inks. But I do have, I did that a long time ago, and I still had some pieces of it. I do have some old cellophane. So let me see what I can find to decorate this page. Oh, this pin goes in here. This pin goes in here. I got these steel pins from Amazon with a T-head. They come in different sizes. But because they're steel and they have that, the T-head, I think they'll be easier to keep track of. So I'm trying one of those out in here. All right, back to the old cellophane. Let me have to reach up to my top shelf and grab my little basket that has old stuff, like it's got my old masking tape in it and some twine because I didn't have a better place to put it, some jute. And then it has pieces of old book spine and cellophane and stuff. The tape, old cellophane tape. So there's a piece. Some of it is still attached to the paper, which I prefer it to be like this. And this art glitter glue dries pretty clear, so I'm using that. This is not as yellowed as some of them, but it's definitely an old piece of tape. I get these old pieces of tape from old books that were taped together, or music, sheet music and music books. They used a lot of tape to hold those things together. So if I can get it off easily, I'll save it. I think that's a little wider than I want. Pick out some lace that I can use on this. I just won't sew it on yet. I have this old piece. Maybe a little bit of seam binding with it. Okay, it's a lot of work. Well, not a whole lot, but all that work was just for one page, and I still have to do a little bit on this. I'm going to clip that so these don't just fall out. There's one page. The next page is a page from Edith Holden, and this will be easy. I already took these burlap pieces. I had done these two pieces before I watched that video, but I sewed on these little elements that were, I think these were from Eclectic Eggplant, and just sewed them to some burlap with some lace, doily. So this will just get glued here because I don't want to sew through the middle of that. And I pulled out some elements that are vintage and even not vintage, but they don't specifically have a fall design on them, but they have the right coloration. So even some playing cards that, like that, it could be, you know, the colors match. So I'm just going to sew this on this edge, but I'll clip it on for now. And that's all I'm doing to that page for now. I might add little tabs or something to the top, but that's good for now. I'm actually going to set these on my little tray next to me so they're not in my way. I'll just take out each page as I need it. Okay, next I have a digital page, another William Morris page, and I have one right here. And I took a piece of linen that's embroidered and just made a little pocket. So I'll do that here. I want to leave one of the side edges on. I cut that kind of crooked. Oops, pardon me. So I'm going to just let that hang off the edge, and I'll cut this one off. I can use this in a cluster or fabric flip, and I will sew this on. And I just tucked one of the vintage ephemera pieces that I pulled out that the coloration goes well. This is from 1954. Summer high school. It's like applying for summer school, I guess, from 1954. And this mushroom piece I added. So I'm just going to add in the pieces as I work so that they're all ready. This is my pile of vintage ephemera here. I think that would fit. Okay, so I'm gonna And I'm going to pick out something that'll be the fabric flip. I have this little scrap. Not a fabric flip, a tab. It's cut very unevenly, but I can just fold it over and use it as a tab. So I'm going to clip everything together and know that all of these items are going to go on this page. I have to do sewing for all of that. It's easy to do this and then just take the signature over to my sewing machine and flip through it and do all of the sewing all at once. And on the inside, I just did a little collage with this adorable image. I think that's from Eclectic Eggplant, but I'm not sure, because I had several different sets of fall imagery. So let's see, and I just thought that was cute. I just love that. And this is just a scrap of paper cardstock that I had embossed. So let's find a fun fall image. How about this fun girl? Miss Autumn, it says. If you do go over to Eclectic Eggplant to check out her fussy cuts, I purchased the fall one and also several floral ones. And I know a lot of you already went over there when I showed them the first time. So if you go over there, if you haven't been there yet, and you go over and make some purchases, tell her I sent you. It's always fun to know that another Etsy seller or YouTuber is supporting you. She was just delighted when you guys let her know that you came from my shop. And I don't want her to give me more free stuff. She did give me a free digital. I picked one and she sent me some extra ones of the postage stamps. I picked postage stamps and she sent me more than I picked. But I don't want more free digitals. I just want her to know that we share the love around here. I love this texture folder that I have, bossing folder, and I got it from Stampin' Up. It's called Tin Tile. It looks like those ceiling tiles that are tin. And I'm just going to go ahead and glue them on, and like this one got stitched through when I sewed the pocket on, but that's fine. I'm just going to go ahead and do it. Take that paper clip off for now. Cassie has some really beautiful digitals also in her shop, which I'm not using in these journals, but she's got some really nice ones. I don't have any of them. Maybe one day. Okay, and then this is fun. Now this was an idea from her. This is a label, a vintage label, and I did purchase some from, I forgot where I got them from actually. And I pulled some out that had the right coloring for these journals. That's a pretty big one. But she used a vintage label and kind of wrapped a little bit of it around. And I thought that looked really neat. So that's just something that is not that difficult to do. Not difficult at all. This one is actually a vintage wrapper from Gift Wrap. So that would be really cool to do. I don't know where the rest of those little... Oh, here they are. I knew I pulled more than that. There's that one. apple cider. I thought that was great because fall is the time for apple cider too, isn't it? Let's try that one. I don't know if I was starting to say something that I didn't finish, but wrap that around. Did I say something? Was I saying something that I didn't finish? Oh, I think I was just talking about this. It's not something that's difficult to do, but it's not something I would have thought to do. And I love it. Let's move it up a little bit. This is pretty big over here, so I think I'll add the embellishment on this side, but I don't know. I kind of just like the afterthought look of that. Let's just try where the embellishments should go. Oh, I think I need to put apples over here because it's apple cider. So I've got those apples. Perfect. That apple. And that apple. Lots of apples in here. These are such fun little die cuts, fussy cuts. I think I like the one on the branch with the leaves. And then I just took a piece of eyelet, a wide eyelet, and sewed it on as a flip. So let me get a piece of that ready. I have these little pieces of fabric that I sewed one on there. Don't know what I did with the rest of them. I'm not going to sew this on yet anyway. So I'll find something to decorate this. I don't want that seam on it. I guess that'll be big enough. So that will end up being sewn on the top there, perhaps with a little fabric embellishment if I can find them, because these are a little bigger than I want. I had some more like that in those little squares, so they're around here somewhere. Now I'm just looking for the things that were clipped to here and removed. Gotta watch me. You gotta keep your eye on me. I lose stuff all the time. It was a fabric pocket. Where did I put it? It's over here. I put put with the pile of stuff. So I'm going to use that tag in it. There's the tab. Yep, this is the stuff. I'm just going to paper clip everything together so I don't have to put paper clips through the fabric, because that doesn't like it that much when you do that. I think that's everything for this journal right at the moment, or for this page. Next, I have just a piece of yellow ledger. It's not very old. I don't know how old it is. I don't need to do much to that. So I just have this little flip, and I have some seed packet labels. I pulled out the chrysanthemum ones because they are fall. I get everything organized, and then as soon as I start working, it doesn't stay organized. I'm just going to glue this on. That's all I need to do. The next page is just, it doesn't have anything to do with fall. It's just an antique collectible book, and this is rolling pins. I thought that was a really cute page. But in this book, I have chairs. So on this page, it was cut in the corner up here for some reason, but I really wanted to use the page, and I didn't want to even it up by cutting off those rolling pins. So I added this strip that I had torn off of one of the Edith Holden pages, and I made that a little tuck spot, but you could still see where it was cut up here. So I added this little digital card, and I think it just really adds a fun and interesting element to the page. And I added this. This is from the book that I talked about with that was supposed to have a CD with it. So it looks like that. I'm going to have to back that. And I like to use pages like this. Is a flyleaf from a book that's very vintage looking. I think it was actually copy dyed. Somebody sent that to me, but it was from an old book. So if I have old pages like that, I like to use them to back. I don't have anything like that handy. So I have this piece of green parchment. I'll just use that. And I'll add some reinforcements here. These are old. they don't want to come off the page. But if I don't feel like that is sticky enough, I will go back in and put some glue on it, but for now I'm just going to stick it down. I read a thread of comments recently on someone, I think it was on Junk Journal Junkies chat group, something like that, one of those groups, and someone wanted to start making videos. I'm going to just adjust my angle a little. And asked what people like to see or what they don't like to see in videos. And since I make videos, I was curious about the answers. And it just seemed to me like there was a lot of judgmental comments on there when they said I don't like. And it was things that you see in a lot of videos, and probably including mine. But I'm conscious of that. And I know that those were just some people's opinions and not everybody's opinions. But one thing that was mentioned was how this person hates to watch people distress their pages. I'm sorry. If I'm pre-prepping stuff, I didn't ink this where it got torn and it needs to be inked. If I pre-prep stuff, if I know what I'm going to do and pre-prep, then I try to do the inking before the video. But in this case, I didn't prep, and maybe that's what she had a problem with, not being prepped. I don't know. But anyway, I'm sorry if I'm inking and you don't want to see the inking. And I will tie something here. They don't like to see hands waving around and too much talking before they open the journal if they're doing a flip through. I just kind of forward through it till I can kind of see as I'm forwarding, okay, now they're opening the book. If I'm not interested in all the other stuff, I'll just forward over that stuff. All right, that's from the one I had already done. Now we have this one. And this one has a little tuck spot that I didn't ink. So these were the tops of the Edith Holden pages that I tore off, but I love them because they have October and September, and of course the pretty Edith Holden handwriting or printing there. So I knew I wasn't going to throw them away. I would use them in something, and then lo and behold, I needed them for these journals. So they got to go right back into the journals from whence they came. Got a couple more of those tags, but these are smaller. That's alright, I'll just put 2 of them. Yeah, they could even go like that, except that the ties would mess them up there. I love this one with the acorns. These are like Art Deco designs, and I love them. So I think I'll put that one in. "49 minutes. Well, maybe I'll just go till the camera shuts off. Or maybe I'll stop it and just start it right up again for the next day's video, because I'm still going to keep going. It's 2 o'clock. I've got some more time to work. I was hoping to finish this, all the embellishments in this signature today, but it took me longer to finish up the first one than I thought it would. And I think it needs something else in there. This is a very old piece of ephemera. One of the Nathan Trail pieces. And some of his were from, was it him? Oh no, this isn't the one from the 1800s. This is from 1926. I had another man's ephemera banking information and stuff that was from the 1800s. What was his name? I still have his stuff, and I made digitals. Just can't remember his name. Okay, so I guess, and I'm going to add a piece of wide lace. And just because I used a little digital there and I really like the way it looks, I'm going to use something on this page. This is actually a vintage gift label. You would put to and from on that and add it to the package. I don't think I want to do that. Whoops, pardon me, bumping the camera again. I do that pretty frequently. I don't know. I don't want to cover up all the white space you have to write on. Maybe I'll just add that little piece. Then I'll have some, I don't have any more of this wide lace. I used it all in this journal, the first one, but I'll add something. I have other ones. I'm just not going to go pick it out right now because I'm going to stop my video. Maybe I'll do some sewing before I come back. Alright, that's going to be it for this video, and I'm going to keep going. So I'll turn the camera on again and record some more working on this journal. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Have a creative day today. Bye-bye.